Hi, everybody. Welcome to the weekly live stream. It's Sunday night, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Today, I have a very special guest with me, and I'm going to just pop her on the screen here. Let's see. There
Hey
she is.
everybody.
Hi, Neely. Welcome to my channel and this live
Thank
stream. Thank you
you.
so much for being here. I've been wanting to do this chat with you for so long.
Yes, I'm
And
excited about it.
wonderful. So I know you as the queen of bread experiments. That's kind of how I first came across your channel. I just feel like I was searching for some, I wanted to change up the egg white bread a bit, and I was searching around and found you, tried one of your buns. I think it was a cheese bun or something like that,
Mm.
and it just worked out so well. And then I think we just started, doing these experiments with bread, and I think in my group. Your name gets mentioned at least once, maybe twice a day
Oh,
minimum. Because people just, the people that are in my group, they just love you and all the things
oh,
that you are doing with your channel. So
thank
I would like
you.
to give you a few minutes to just kind of introduce yourself and a little bit of history, because not, I guess not everybody will know exactly who you are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just want to say I loved that, there was a little time there when I feel like a lot of us connected over bread.
Yeah.
where I don't know that I had ever seen your channel until I started watching other people that were doing egg white bread, and we kind of had all these little experiments, and we'd go back and forth. One of us would try something, and then the other one would try it and add something to it. It was so fun, and we still do that, a little bit, but
Yes.
there was just that little window of time that was just so fun. But
Yeah.
my name is Neely. My channel is Indigo Nili, but my first name is Neely, so people call me Indigo or Neely. Either way is fine with me. And I mean, my story with keto kind of goes way back, back to the Atkins diet, which was keto before it was keto. And I did that before my wedding, when I was 19 years old, and lost like 35, 40 pounds in just a few months. And I just thought I had found, the magic holy grail of health, until I decided to kind of start being smarter and learning more. And so I started, looking at other diets, and then I got really confused because you look, you can go any direction and find, 100 different ideas on health. And so I spent a lot of years trying different things and kind of progressing through different diets. And interestingly enough, the diet that I'm eating today is very similar to the very first diet I ever did, the Atkins diet way back, way back 20 years ago now. And I wonder now, like, what it would have been like if I had just continued with Atkins diet this whole time instead of going, through paleo and, lower fat and higher carb and all these different things that I did. But you can't go back. But I always say I learned something through every single diet that I tried, and I've always retained some piece of wisdom. And so the diet that I have today, even though it looks similar to that one way back then, it's just evolved into what makes me feel my best, and I'm continuing to work on it. And so basically what my channel is today, and my channel's been through a lot of iterations as well, but basically, what it is today is just me sharing my own journey. So I share a lot of, Wellness Wednesday videos where I talk about my health and just different things that I'm going through. And then I also just share my cooking. I have 5 kids. I have a big family. We have a little farm. So I kind of just share whatever's going on in my kitchen. It's not like a dedicated recipe every week or anything like that. One day maybe I'll get to that point where I'm able to do that, but right now it's just like whatever I have going on in the kitchen is what I share, whether it's grocery hauls or recipes or just food prep videos, and that's me.
I mean, I can relate to that too. I mean, I started with Atkins as well, and I would say you're 100% right because I'm probably eating closer to that now myself personally. He
Yeah,
had it right. He had it right all
he
along.
was way before his time.
He sure was. I want to
Yeah.
give a few shout outs before we start answering some questions. And I have a couple of questions for you
Okay.
as well. I want to shout out Kaya F7, new YouTube member. Thank you very much, Kaya. Nice to meet you. And we also have some other YouTubers in the house that are watching us. We
Yay!
have, I noticed, Ron's Keto Kitchen is here. We have Low Carb Spin. They are here.
Yes.
And we have, where's I lost it now? Just Jason Keto. I saw him show up. So there's Ron. And I'm sure that there's others, and I will find them.
I see
But
Mission Keto is here.
oh, Mission Keto's in the house
Yeah.
too. Yay. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Oh, wow. Look at all these comments already. Okay. So, one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Neely, is that you are not about labels. Like
Mm,
you are doing what is best for your health and your body in this moment. And as you have found out, because I've been listening to your videos and some of your. I don't know if are you still doing the Wellness Wednesdays?
pretty much. There, I miss a day here and there, but
Yeah,
I try to
yeah.
get it in every week if I can.
I just feel like you approach, like you don't get stuck in a rut of doing
Mm,
the same thing over and over again. Like you are willing to change, experiment and change. And I really like that because I do that too. And
hmm
I feel that, this is so individual. We're all on this journey trying to get healthier, not trying to be a perfect paleo person or a perfect carnivore
Yes.
or a perfect whatever labels that are out there. What does your typical day look like these days, like right now?
Yeah.
And I know that'll evolve.
Yes, and it definitely does, and that's, kind of what I share on my channel is all the different things that I try. Because even though I found like a really solid baseline for my diet, it's always going to be higher protein, it's always going to be lower carb, whether that's zero carb or, up to 100 carbs, like it's going to be somewhere in that range. Like I have a baseline now, which I'm really happy about because there's been a lot of years where it was just like, I don't know what I am supposed to be doing. But then once I found that, kind of ketovore, I call it, or meat-based keto, I'm like, I know this is like something like this is going to be what I do for the rest of my life. I'm 99% sure. So right now, actually in September, I'm doing a dairy-free
Oh,
challenge. I kind of created my own reset because
okay.
I talking about doing your own thing and not having labels. I was like, oh, I want to kind of do a reset for September, but BBBE doesn't really fit exactly what I want, and all these full carnivore doesn't really fit exactly what I want, and so I just was like, I just sat down. And I was like, okay, what are the foods that make me feel my absolute best, and what are the foods that either make me feel bad or I'm not 100% sure they make me feel really good. Things like dairy, and that was probably the biggest one where I was like, I know that I have, dairy gives me a little bit of trouble. And I'm like, I'm just going to cut it out for the
Mm-hmm.
month and see how I feel. And I also cut out things like nuts and peanut butter and things like that. So right now, my diet is actually very, very simple. It's pretty much just meat, veggies, and then I'm doing things like Keto Chow core. That's the Keto
Mm-hmm.
Chow that's dairy free and that's sweetened with stevia instead of sucralose. And other things like Equip Prime Protein, where it's just really, they are products and they are sweetened, but they're very clean, if you want to use that
Yeah.
term. But then just keeping the dairy out, keeping the nuts out, and then I am allowing some vegetables because once I went through like a gut healing protocol, I really started tolerating vegetables way better than I used to. And so,
Okay.
I it's basically meat, vegetables, eggs, and then the keto chow core and stuff like that. So like, let's see, this morning for breakfast, I had ground beef with eggs. Like,
Okay.
super simple. For lunch, I had a keto chow core, and that's where I'm at right now. So that's all I've had today.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and simple, right?
It is. Yeah, and that's one of the goals that I had for the reset is just to keep it simple. Not thinking about it, not buying a ton of ingredients that you have to use up, just kind of keeping it to a baseline.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put a couple of questions on the screen. Now, this one I don't know if I have an answer to this. She's just kind of asking anyone out there. So I just ask if any of you are able to help Sandra with this question, maybe just reply to her because I haven't had this experience. So, and I don't know about you, Neely. Do you have anything to say about that question there?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
And I do feel for you because that's rough. Because there's,
Yeah.
all kinds of things you can do for constipation or diarrhea, but then when it's a medication that's causing it, it just adds so much complexity to the
Yeah,
situation.
I agree. And I had another question here. Um, what should I test for fat amounts if my blood pressure is up on
Hmm.
keto? I'm not sure I really understand that question, but if what about
Ooh.
you? Do you have any?
I I really don't. I wasn't aware that fat was a big driver in blood
Yeah,
pressure, so I don't really know. I mean, it would be interesting to try different macros and test your blood pressure and see if different things affect it, but it's not something I have experience with.
yeah, me neither. Since being keto, my blood pressure has been like just dead normal. I've never
Mm,
had any issues. But so hopefully, if somebody else, can reply to Judy Be Light, that would be good.
yeah.
And then I did see another really good question here. This one will be right up your alley, Neely. If I can find it. Okay, let's see what it was, and I will find it, but I remember what it was. They want to know your easiest bread recipe.
Okay, so easiest because when I do recipes, and I did do a whole video where I like laid out a whole list of recipes and like this one's really tasty, but it's a lot of work. This one's
Mm-hmm.
easier, but still it's pretty tasty, so there's like trade-off. Like how much work do you want to do? How many ingredients do you want to have versus, how easy you want it to be? And if I could find a recipe that was the easiest and the best tasting, that would be like the perfect, of all worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but if you want the easiest, I would probably say the one that I do, like a bread recipe with butter powder, because there's the one that has the frozen shredded butter in it, but you have to freeze the butter and shred it, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But butter powder just is so easy. So if you're just looking to, buy a product that you can keep in your pantry, butter powder is a great one that adds a lot of flavor and texture to the bread and is just super easy to use. So the title of that one is my best bread recipe yet, I think it's called. And I
Okay.
do recommend there's my video where I go through the whole list because I have links to every single one, both the video of it and the written recipe on my blog. Um, because I know it is confusing. Like trying to sift through all the different recipes, and then on YouTube, it's kind of like you have this timeline of things
Yeah.
where you post a video and then you post another video a year later that's like an updated version of that one, but that one's still live, and so people get kind of confused. So I
I
tried to
know.
make that one video where I laid everything out and have links to all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely understand. I've got about
I
10
know you
pasta
would.
noodle recipes and
Yes.
people will say, "Oh, I made your pasta noodle, but I had an issue with this or that." And I'm like, "Oh, which one?"
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get comments on like old videos and they're like, "Why didn't you use butter powder in this recipe? Do you not like it anymore?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, that one was from like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was way before I even used butter powder."
At the time you did that one, I was not able to get butter powder in Canada. So I'm going to have to
Yes.
check again and see if because I love the frozen butter edition. That really
Yes.
changed the whole texture of buns and bread and stuff. Uh, but yeah, it would be nice to have the butter powder. Be
Yeah, it
easier.
just is super convenient and it does give a different texture to the bread. And that's what I love about, the experimenting is you can just kind of do anything,
Yeah.
and people will always ask me like, what's your best recipe? And I'm like, well, you don't go into a bakery and just be like, what's your one bread that you
Yeah.
make?
Yeah.
There's like all different kinds with all different techniques, and it can be the same way with the egg white bread, because you can get ones with bigger bubbles and ones that are tighter and more like a bagel, and there's all different ways to do it, all different ingredients that you can play with.
Yeah. I agree. So we have another question here. Have
Okay.
either of you slipped off carnivore? And if so, what are you doing? Well, Neely's not. You're not carnivore,
Not
right? You're
carnivore.
right. I am still. I'm still on carnivore. I'm just eating meat now. And I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it really clean right now. I'm doing kind of a reset. I'm working with Alice and Kevin, trying to clean up my program, get these last pounds off. And Neely, you can just explain what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so as far as carnivore goes, I did a 3-month carnivore experiment before I started talking about it on YouTube. So I don't have any documentation of it, but I did 3 whole months with no sweeteners, like 100% carnivore. And what when I slipped off of that, I actually ate ice cream. That's what got me. And then it was kind of yeah, it was a weird time in my life where I got a cookbook deal, and so I started creating a cookbook that wasn't carnivore, and so I couldn't stay on it. So anyways, that's a whole different story, but when I am eating just my regular diet of ketovore, we'll call it, um I have worked really hard in my my mental health as it relates to
Hmm.
eating, where I don't have that I'm on the wagon or off the wagon, in my head anymore. Like if I'm eating ketovore, I'm good, and if I eat anything else, I'm bad.
Yeah.
So I've worked really hard on that, and I'm at the point where I can pretty much eat a bite of anything and it doesn't send me off the rails, like, into a binge or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I've made peace with food to a certain extent where that's not my struggle. So there are times, because I am, like, my digestion is in a really healthy place right now, and my blood sugar, I've been testing my blood sugar with CGMs. It's really pretty steady. I can handle quite a bit. And so I feel like I'm okay to every once in a while, and this is just me. I'm not saying that anyone else should do this or anyone else is at the same place, but for me, I'm able to take a bite of something or go, off of my baseline diet, and it doesn't send me off the rails. So to answer the question, I really don't do anything except just wake up and keep eating the way I eat, the next morning. But there are definitely times where I eat a little bit differently, but I just think of it in a different way now.
Hmm.
I think of it as just, oh, I celebrated, whatever social event that was, and I entered in socially with whatever food it was, and that was great. And now I'm just back to regular life. So it's,
I
it's
yeah
just a
I
different perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's all about also healing our relationship with food, right? Not having it have so much power that, a little bite of this or that is going to send us into, some kind of weird, you know. Yeah, I think I understand exactly what you're saying, actually.
Yeah, and I don't have severe allergies. I do have some autoimmune issues, but they're very, minimal. And
Hmm.
so for some people, they do really have to keep things very strict, just, not just on for the mental part of it, but
Yes.
also for the physical, where they would have a terrible reaction. And I mean, I just am not at that place. And I do expect that as I get older, my diet will become stricter. Like
Yeah.
I kind of have that in my mind as, as our bodies begin to break down, that's just how life is. And I'm okay with that. Like, and so if
Yeah.
I'm able to, have a little bit more enjoyment with, social eating now, I'm like, that's fine. As long as it's not, you know, snowballing into something else. But then with the realization that as I grow older, I probably will, get closer to carnivore. That's kind of what's in my mind.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I used to be able to, just go on any type of a diet and lose weight right away, and your body starts to fight you after a while. When
Yes.
you get to a certain age group, and hormones play a big part. But I think
Hormones are
all the things
crazy.
that you just said now kind of apply to Claudia's question here. Can you talk about
Ah,
not trying to be perfect, but trying to live a comfortable lifestyle? And honestly, I don't think there's not a perfect way to do
no.
this.
No, there really isn't. That's what I like to say is we don't live in a perfect world.
No.
So therefore a perfect diet probably wouldn't even work, because and our bodies aren't perfect. Like a
Right.
perfect diet is only for the perfect body in the perfect world. If you can
Yeah.
find one of those, then go for it. Um, but it is a tricky question because when your relationship with food is in a rough place, sometimes it's actually easier to try to be perfect, to try to not to get clean, almost like an alcoholic getting off
Yeah.
of alcohol. And Kelly Hogan talks about this a lot with
Yeah.
sugar. And I love that. And I think that's totally appropriate when you're in the throes of the addiction to sugar. So like my advice wouldn't apply to everybody to, like live a
Yeah.
comfortable lifestyle, like have a bite of this here now and then. That could be terrible advice for
It
certain people.
yeah. I think it's
So
where you have to know if you're a moderator or an abstainer.
yes, absolutely. And also to know where you are in your journey, because
Yeah.
I have definitely been in a place where it was the wrong choice for me to take that first bite because it did send me to bad places. And I think it's probably impossible to know perfectly and get it right every time. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I shouldn't take this first bite. You kind of make mistakes. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. And I see a huge value if you're in that place of like falling down over and over and over again. I see a huge value in just getting clean and just saying, for whatever period of time you choose,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna make no exceptions. Like I'm just gonna get off of this and have it like take the control away from the food. And for me, I did that for a long time, and it was really gradual. It wasn't like this like one moment or one morning I woke up and realized that that didn't have control over me anymore. But at some point I was just like, "Oh, I can take a bite of something and I'm the one in control. Like I can control when I take a bite and when I set the fork down." And so just being honest with yourself and recognizing where you're at, and not just following an influencer or a YouTuber or a doctor just trying to do exactly what they say, but knowing yourself, because there are all different influencers and YouTubers in
Hmm.
all different places in their journey, and you can't just follow exactly what they do because they're not you. And knowing yourself, I mean, that's the only way that you can, make progress, is to know where you're at. And if you're trying to follow exactly what some influencer is doing and you're falling down every other day,
Hmm.
it's like, well, maybe you're not them. And so, approaching it differently would probably be a better choice. So
Yeah, I think
I talk about that all the time, like just individualizing your approach, instead of like trying to find a diet cult to, just pledge your allegiance to.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's so much. You're so much more at peace when you can do that. When
Yes.
it's not about the rules, it's about just going down that path of health and finding what's working for you.
Yes.
Yeah, so many people get so hung up on those labels.
Yes. And I'm not going to say it's an easy journey, like
No.
to find the peace and to know yourself and like that's it sounds easy when you say it, but it's a lot of work, a lot of years, a lot of tears, a lot of not knowing and trying things and them not working and maybe some do work. It's so I don't want to ever like try to portray that it's simple,
No.
even
It's
though it's a
simple but
simple
not easy.
concept. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way to say it.
Yeah. And it's taken me 10 years to get to a good place with food.
Yeah,
Probably 11 now. I keep saying 10 years, but I'm thinking
yeah,
it's probably 11 or 12 even.
yeah. I started my first diet 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a lifetime expert here,
Oh,
but in the
yeah,
low carb keto, Atkins kind of thing, I've been working on it for 11, 12 years now,
yeah.
and it takes a while. It takes a while to
It
heal
does.
not just your body but your relationship with food as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's another question here for Neely. The vegetables. Oops. There it is. It's back.
Yes. Vegetables. So, I when I was not eating vegetables, there was a couple of years where I just had a lot of digestive issues, and I had been hearing a lot about carnivore, and I was like, vegetables are going to kill you, like the carnivore mantra.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just kind of cut them out, and kept them to a minimum. Um, but a huge reason for that was because they did actually cause me physical pain. And so, and I was like, well, maybe I just can't handle vegetables. Like I was, just thinking of my body in a constant state of, my body can't handle vegetables. I did not realize at that time that there were things that I could actually do to help my body tolerate vegetables better. And when I went on my SIBO healing protocol, one of the biggest benefits that I got from doing that, and it was a lot of work and it took a lot of months, but one of the biggest benefits in the end was that all of a sudden I could tolerate so many more vegetables than I used to. And so at this point, I can pretty much eat any vegetable that I want to. And I like a lot of vegetables. I mean, there's really not many that I dislike. So I love salads, and I was so frustrated because I worked so hard, like when I was paleo and stuff, to force myself to learn to like vegetables, like giant salads every day and stuff, because I didn't care for them a lot before,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked so hard to learn to like them, and then I was like, then I can't eat them, and now I do like them, and I wish I could. So salads for sure. And that's kind of like my treat when I go out to a restaurant or something. It's like I get to have a salad. It's really exciting. I don't make a lot of salads at home just because buying lettuce, and it sits in your fridge and goes bad is just annoying. So I kind of have that as a treat, when I go out. I can eat things like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage, but I still really don't make them very much, just
Mm-hmm.
because it's work. It's inconvenient,
Yeah.
and I've gotten to the place where I no longer think that vegetables are the thing that's going to make me healthy and skinny. It used to be like the more vegetables you eat, the skinnier you get.
Yeah.
And I kind of have unwound that thinking in my head. And so now it's like, if I feel like having them, I have them. If I don't feel like having them, I don't feel like I need to. I don't feel guilty if I don't have a vegetable on my plate. So, probably my favorite and most common way to use vegetables is like a little bit of chopped up onion on my steak or
Hmm.
cilantro or like just more as like a garnish.
Yeah, like a
Um,
condiment or something.
exactly. I do
Yeah.
enjoy vegetables in soup because just
Hmm.
eating a meat and a broth is, I mean, vegetables just add a little something, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I will eat all different vegetables. Like if we're at a gathering or something and there's a veggie tray, like I'll eat that. If there's a salad, I'll eat that. Really, whatever's there, I do enjoy, but I don't make it a priority, and I just it's kind of one of those fun foods for me,
So very
which is
meat.
weird to
Yeah,
say.
I know it. My big cheat would be a vegetable.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange? Like, who would ever think that?
Yeah, yeah. Who are we?
I know what's happened to us.
Yeah.
I have another question here for you from Mission Keto. Your date night video.
Yes, that was just
Yes. Oh,
yesterday's.
yeah. Now I missed that. So you had a good date
Okay.
night.
Yes. And so in that video, so I'm doing my reset that's dairy free and nut
Mm-hmm.
free. And I had in my mind, like before the reset started, like because I've been on so many diets where I've been like ultra strict through holidays and gatherings and like, just like I don't know, like it was so important to me to stay strict on my diet, and not for a health reason. It was more for I don't know what reason, but I've gotten over that. Like I'm going out on a date with my husband. I'm going to enjoy that, and for me, that meant getting a salad with blue cheese on it. Like that was
Nice.
my huge splurge for
Nice.
my date night with my husband. And so I in the video I showed that even though I'm on this dairy free reset, I made an exception because we maybe go out on a date once a month, if that. And I was like, I'm not gonna, try to keep it out. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's one
Nice.
meal. And because, I've done the work with my relationship with food, it was just the one meal. I didn't even bring any leftovers home. That was it. I was done. And it
Nice.
was totally, totally great. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Okay. What kind of fat are you eating, Neely? MCT or other fats?
I eat a lot of different kinds of fats. And I should say in my dairy free is not 100% dairy free because I am still having butter.
Mm-hmm.
I did a dairy free, like 6 months dairy free where I didn't even have butter. I don't know how I survived, but
Yeah.
I decided this time I don't think the butter's giving me any problems. So I decided to keep the butter in. So I do have a lot of butter. I do use MCT oil, not a lot. It's mostly in the form of MCT oil powder in my coffee. Since I gave up the heavy cream, I'm using MCT oil powder in my coffee, and I find that's like the creamiest and the best replacement for heavy cream that I've found. So I have that. I also am not opposed to using things like coconut oil and
Mm-hmm.
avocado oil. I don't make them like a huge part of my diet. Like if
Right.
I'm just choosing something for nutrition, I'll choose butter or bacon fat or tallow or something like that. But it's convenient to have like avocado oil spray, or coconut oil comes in handy for certain things.
Yeah.
So I use all of those, in animal fat, plenty of animal fat as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm
I'm
I'm kind of the
most
same.
fats I'm happy with besides vegetable oils.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for answering that one. And there was your favorite way from T Jones. What is your favorite way to cook suet?
Well, that's your in your ballpark. That's not mine.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have not cooked suet.
So I actually I have cooked a little bit of suet. So I like what are they called? They're suet crispies. I do have a video where I cut up the suet, put it in the air fryer, and they made these little crispy, chewy things. Those were good.
Mm, mm,
I think that's about the only thing I can think of, other than rendering it down to make tallow or whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, I hope that I don't know. I
There
hope
was
that.
one time where I bought, I think it was suet, and it was ground like ground beef. And
Okay.
I got it just to render, but then what it ended up with was like little Krispies, but it was like really tiny little ground Krispies, and that was good.
I have
Interesting.
mixed that kind of thing. Like, was it like it was like ground beef fat, right? Like it
Yes.
was
Yeah.
yeah. If you mix that into a burger, like a butter burger, but use
Ooh,
that instead, it's really good. I did do a video on that as well, and
that
it
sounds
is
amazing.
very nice, very nice.
Yes.
Okay, and here somebody, Kathy, made meat flour a couple weeks ago,
Ooh.
kept it in the fridge. How long will the flour stay good for? I am not sure. Have you done meat flour,
I
Neely?
have not made meat flour. I've only used the Carnivore Crisps
Yeah, me
brand, and I
too.
know that that's going to stay good for a long time because it's very, very dry. So I think it's
Yes.
probably going to depend on how dry you got it. Any moisture in there is going to cause it to go
Yeah.
bad faster. So I think it's really going to depend, but probably in the fridge, it would probably last for quite a
It
while.
should last a long time, and yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when I was surprised on the bag, I think it was like 1 or 2 years ahead in the
Yeah.
expiry date. It was really long. I was kind
Yeah.
of yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
You could
Okay,
probably keep it in the freezer too for even longer.
that's a really good idea. Yeah.
A lot of flowers are good kept in the freezer, so.
That's right, and that actually keeps the I keep rice in the freezer too. Not that I eat
Mm,
rice anymore.
right.
That's like from the old days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. I'm okay. Well, I have a question for you while I'm
Okay.
hunting for other questions. So, where did the name of your channel come from? And I hope that's not a
Yes.
personal question, but
No, not at all.
okay.
Yeah. So, my name is Neely,
Yes.
and it is a Hebrew name.
Okay.
Um, and the meaning of it is, it's the name of a pea plant, like snap peas. And the flower on that pea plant is indigo blue. So
Okay.
they also use my name as the word for the color indigo blue. So I kind of always had indigo as kind of like my alter ego name, and I I didn't put a lot of thought into my channel. Like I never expected my channel to be where it is today. Like if I had that as my plan, I would have put a way more thought into what I named my channel. But I was like, I'll just threw it in there, like Indigo Neely, and because it's kind of
Yeah.
like Indigo is also the same as my first name. So if you call me Indigo, it's like you're calling me Neely, and so anyway, that's all there is to it.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
it's good to know because I was, imagining other things. I read a book once called Indigo Kids, I think it was, and I thought,
Yes.
oh, maybe it came from that.
Yes, I that came around and I was like, oh, huh, I hope and I haven't really looked into what indigo children are supposed to be exactly, and I'm like, I hope it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just that's my name.
So here is another question from Mrs. Imperfectly
Yes.
Keto. There, we like that name, right? Mrs. Imperfectly
Yes.
Keto.
Yes.
We
I
all
was just
have.
on a live stream with her on Friday.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
that was super fun.
Oh, well, welcome, Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto. I love your name.
Yes.
We have favorite recipes from you both, but do you have a favorite of your own recipe? What say you?
I think my favorite recipe is probably my carnivore or protein breading recipe.
Very versatile.
It's very versatile, and I
Yes.
have not fed it to anyone that didn't like it, like keto or non keto. Like everyone seems to like it, and that makes me super happy.
You know what? I just used it the other day. Like it is crazy good. You could put it on chicken, sardines, whatever,
Yeah,
anything.
onion rings,
Yeah.
fish. It's really good on fish too.
Yeah. yeah. Ah, yeah, yeah.
What about you?
Oh, me. Oh, dear. My favorite recipe. I like recipes that have dairy in them, and I'm not doing dairy
Me
right now,
too.
which is kind of sad. I like creme brulee in the air fryer. Oh, I got to like that one a little bit too much, which is why I had to I had to stop dairy again.
Yes.
I do like a good pasta with, again, a creamy sauce.
Yes.
But
What is
these
it about
days,
dairy?
I know dairy. Meatballs. I like the meatballs with gravy, and I've been using
Mm.
the I've been mixing in some of the carnivore crisp flour into the meatballs and then into
Ooh.
the gravy. Lots of butter. It's a very carnivore thing.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy that. Yeah, my favorites change over time.
Yeah, me
No,
too. I'll get into something and eat it
yeah,
every day, and then I'm
I
like, oh,
know.
more of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I get
Yeah.
that. So here, I had this question too, and someone else has asked it about Kelly. Are you going to experiment more with the bamboo fiber?
I am, well, I have one video that's still coming, hopefully in the next couple of days, where I tried a flour blend that has bamboo fiber in it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I will probably experiment with it until I finish the bag. And unless I find like some incredible thing that it makes, that'll probably be the end of it. But
Okay.
I won't know until I experiment. So far, it hasn't been anything more incredible than like acacia fiber or other things that I've tried. And right now, bamboo fiber is really hard to find. It's real difficult to get on Amazon. And so I kind of feel bad doing a lot of videos on it
Hmm.
because people
Hmm.
just aren't able to buy it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like I
Yeah.
said, I don't see a whole lot of benefit yet to it versus acacia fiber, which is a lot more accessible.
Well, some of your bread and bun recipes are so good. I mean, how do you improve on those? You know.
Yeah, it's like and so people ask, like, are you gonna keep where are your experimentation videos with more bread? And I'm like, well, I kind of like the ones I have. I have, a
Yeah.
few different options depending on what I want, and it's like,
Yep. Yep.
I don't really need to do that anymore. Kind of like with the pasta, it's like you have a bunch of those recipes. It's like, well, they're already good.
They are good, yeah. Some people have asked me about the bamboo fiber too, but I'm a little afraid to try it because I
Yeah.
have, I have gut issues with using almond flour and coconut flour and those types of things, and I'm just
Yes.
afraid to try something that is so high in fiber.
Yeah.
I like I mean, I've only seen one bamboo recipe from you, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I've
Um,
just done the one.
Okay, okay. So that's the
Yeah.
one that I'm talking about. I think you used a couple of tablespoons, like so you used it like you would a
Yes.
acacia fiber or any of the other fibers, which I liked a lot better. I mean, I think I could do. I don't know if I want to buy a whole bag of bamboo fiber to put in a tablespoon in
Yeah.
something I make once a month,
Exactly.
right? But I like that way of using it as opposed to using cups of it because it does scare
Yeah.
me for the amount of fiber and total carbs and everything.
I totally agree. And,
Yeah.
it's like, where in history would we ever have a cup of straight fiber like that we're, using in place of a flour? Like, I,
Yeah.
and I'm not one that, thinks that necessarily fiber is poison for everybody, but it's like, let's be reasonable as well.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us do suffer from various stomach issues, gut issues,
Yes,
sensitivities, and
it's
so that's
so
my
common.
hesitation with it. Now, if you're out there using it and you guys are liking it and it's helping you stay the course, great. Just
Yeah.
if you start getting some stomach pains, though, that might be why. But
Yeah.
just be
Oh, for
careful.
sure.
Proceed
And
with
I was
caution.
Yeah, I was happy with at least with the amount that I used. I didn't
Mm.
notice any digestive issues from it, so I was
Oh,
thankful
good.
for that. So, and that's another one where you just have to know your own body and kind of your limits. And there, it's funny, total aside, but there were times throughout, my diet history where I was eating things because I was told by someone else that they were healthier, like gluten free instead of, gluten products. And I got to the point where I realized that the gluten free things I was eating actually made me feel worse than just eating
Mm,
gluten. And I'm like, but I'm sitting here eating these things and being in pain because I was told that it's better for me instead of
yeah.
listening to my
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
body. And then, of
Yeah.
course, I feel even more better when I cut out both of the gluten and the gluten free stuff. But,
Yeah.
anyways, that's another one where it's like, just because someone says it's keto or someone says it's great and it's healthy,
Yeah.
listen to your body as well.
Yep, you do have to know yourself, and it's all about experimenting. I like this one, Martha. I'd so love a ladies' retreat with you two
Wouldn't
ladies.
that be fun?
That would be amazing. We're on the
That
same
would be amazing.
coast,
We
you know?
are, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Would
I think
it?
we're in the same time zone, yeah.
Yes, yes. Would it involve getting our nails done? I hope so, because I just haven't
Oh,
had time for that kind of thing.
yeah. Oh, that would
But
be
yeah,
so
no, that
fun.
would be fun, wouldn't it? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Thank you, Martha. You're so sweet. Oh boy. Okay, who else have we got here with some questions? Oh, other people are agreeing with Martha in the comments here.
Well, someone needs to arrange it then.
Oh,
That's what I've
yeah.
said about I'd love to have a meetup or something in my area because there's just really not a lot going on over here. But I'm like, I can't. I don't have it in me to like do all the organization and make it happen. But I'm like, if
Me
someone else did it,
neither. Me
I would be
neither.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, String Hacker
Mm.
5. Very nice, very generous. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, so question. Hi, Cindy. Another
Cindy's
YouTuber
here.
joining us. Unavailable, the bamboo flower. Yes, that is the same thing. Bamboo flower and bamboo fiber are the same thing, right?
I think so, yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
I get that question about the egg white powder too, because on
Yes.
some containers it's egg white protein, and on some it says just egg whites, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. It's super confusing.
Okay,
But they should
so
be all the same thing. As long as the ingredient is egg white,
yeah,
it should be all the
yeah,
same thing.
definitely. Low carb spin read
Hmm,
that the bamboo fiber might interfere with thyroid. Yeah, well, I
that's
hope
interesting.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so ingredients like that, like the bamboo fiber and even like all of the fiber powders, like I don't ever use them because I feel like it's adding something nutritionally to my diet.
Right.
I use it as kind of like a fun food.
Yeah.
And some people are like they're in the place of health where they need to narrow down their diet only to things that are giving them perfect nutrition
Yep.
or good nutrition. No such thing as perfect. But then, depending on where you are with your health, you can add, a little bit of something. Like I have sugar-free barbecue sauce. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat that for health. I eat that for pleasure, and it's like,
Yes.
depending on where you're at, you can add more or less of those kind of things. It's the same with,
Yes.
the onions on my steak or whatever. It's like,
Sure.
that's more for fun.
You're
I don't think I
it's,
need them, but it's for fun.
you're enhancing the flavor.
Exactly.
Judy says she's been using it without any
Oh, good.
digestive issues. So
Good,
so
good.
that's great, Judy. Um, oh, Bridget wants to know where you are.
I am in Oregon, so
Hmm.
just below Anita, in the not too far outside of Portland.
Okay. Uh, Copper's Kitchen loves that you are so honest and real, and that is why people love you. And I
Thank you.
have to agree with that.
Yeah, I always say I don't have time to like pretend. Like I don't have it in me to to try to create some facade of a life. Like what you see
Yes.
is what you get. It's either this or nothing.
I know, I know. Yeah, on Instagram sometimes you see some wonderful things, but
Yeah.
when you come to our cooking channels, there's more reality.
Yes. Well, and I think that's people like that. Like we can
Yeah,
go watch the Food Network if we want, something that looks perfect and is
yeah,
perfectly produced in every way. But it's
yeah,
like I'd rather, hang out in the kitchen with my friend and, that's I feel like that's what YouTube allows us to do, which is so cool.
That's 100%. I feel exactly the same way because when I go into the other YouTubers' channel, your channel, pretty much all of them, it's just like you're hanging out with them, and I just enjoy that so much.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because like it would be great if we had local friends where we could get together and cook keto together. But
Yeah,
for most of us, that's not the reality. Everyone else is cooking, hamburger helper and stuff. And so just to kind of have that sense of community, even though we live so far away, I mean, it's just like, what a time to be alive. It's amazing.
I know, it's fantastic. So a question for you is, have you tried making cookies with the meat flour or the cooked ground meats that are blended up for the bread
I have
recipes?
not. I have not
Interesting,
done that. I
Sheila.
did a brownie recipe with the beef flour,
Okay.
and that was good. Um, but I have not. So you've done some recipes with like ground meat in the blender,
I
right?
have, but not any sweet ones. Like I haven't done
Oh,
any
okay.
cookies. I've done bagels and bread.
Mm,
Yeah, because I'm doing this 6 week reset. So
yes.
maybe
Oh,
after
yeah. It was
that I
the
might.
bagels I saw that I saw pop
Yeah,
up, and I need to
yeah,
try those. Those looked
yeah.
good.
They
I
are
mean,
good.
I would
They're
have to
good
do it without cream
toasted.
cheese on top, which would make me sad, but at
Yeah,
least there's
I
butter.
know. Yeah. There is butter. There is. I am no longer having them with cream cheese right now because
Yeah.
not doing dairy right now. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
Danny
So I haven't
says,
tried any of those. They look good though.
yeah, I think in a few weeks, maybe for Christmas, I'll try something. I'll try to make some kind of
Yeah.
a treat that is carnivorous, like just
Yes.
a little bit on the edge of carnivore.
Yes.
Danny loves how your kids are the
Oh.
taste testers.
Yeah,
They
that's pretty
are,
fun. It can be
yes.
quite entertaining. I don't always know what's going to come out of their mouths.
Yes, I know. That at least with me, the dogs don't talk. They just have
They're
their
usually
little
happy for
barks.
anything too.
They'll eat whatever it is. They won't
Yeah.
care.
My dogs would not be great taste testers because they would say everything was fantastic.
Right, right.
Not help.
Uh, okay, let's see here. Looking for some more questions. Uh, let's see. Oh, that wasn't a
Oh,
question. But I like the idea of Salisbury steak. I got to go check that out.
yeah, she was talking about that on our live stream the other day, and I told her she needed to do a video because I want to try it.
Yes, I would try that too. This question is anyone in any groups are registered nurse? I'm not sure
Right now,
exactly. Or right now. Okay, is anyone
any
in any
groups?
groups right now? I think I'm in 100 groups right now.
Me too. So many groups.
There's a lot of groups. If you're talking about Facebook, there's a lot of groups. You can just put in keto or carnivore or ketovore. You're gonna
Hmm.
find you're gonna find something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any you would recommend, Neely?
As far as like keto and carnivore groups, I don't do a lot of those on Facebook anymore. But like the two crazy ketos have a pretty hoppin' Mighty Networks. So if you do keto, that's a great option. I'd say like try to find something that aligns with whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to be really strict carnivore, there's lots of groups for that.
There is, yeah.
If you want something more keto, do that. Like Keto Chow has a Facebook group where people share Keto Chow recipes and ideas and stuff. And so if you're into that, you go there. Yeah, that's so great that you can really narrow it down to whatever works for you and what you're doing. And so if you're really triggered by seeing sweets and stuff, then you go to like a really strict carnivore group. And
Yeah.
so I think there's options for everybody.
There's a just for anything you could possibly want. There's also a YouTube
Yes,
video for anything you could possibly
so
want.
true.
It's yeah. Here's a question. Is Keto Chow really that good? Seems a bit expensive. I think, I mean, I'll just address that and then you can address it too. I think the price reflects the fact that it's a complete meal with all your vitamins, minerals. You don't have to have food. Now, I love my food, so I'm not much of a shake person, but I used to love those Keto Chow puddings. I made pudding with my
Mm.
Keto Chow all the time. And so I kind of miss that. But I'm going to try it with their core because they did give me some core, the ones with the stevia to try. So I might
Hmm.
do something like that when I'm finished my reset and just see how the pudding turns out. But I know that you do have a lot of recipes on your channel using Keto Chow, so maybe
Yeah.
you could address this one too.
Yeah. So the question is it really that good? I mean, that's subjective depending on,
Mm-hmm.
your own personal tastes and, what you like. For me, I would say yes, as soon as you figure out how you like it, because there's so many different ways to make it. Different because you add your own fat, so you figure out which kind of fat you like. Do you like it just as a shake from the fridge, or do you like it like a milkshake, or do you like it like ice cream? Because there's so many ways. So like when I very first tasted it, I was like, oh, this is fine. But then when I figured out how I really like it, now I'm like, this is amazing. This is so good. And so I'd say, you have to do some work to figure out if it's right for you. And then if you're one that really needs the convenience of it, then I'd say it's really that good because it is so convenient. If you're, going through the drive-through every night because you're so busy, keto chow could be, I mean, it could be less expensive than doing that every night. So it really depends on your lifestyle and, what would be good for you in that moment. One other thing that I really like about it, for my family is I have now three kids that like it. Two are still holdouts. Um, but three really like it, and my husband really likes it, and he's one that has to eat a lot of calories, and he's also trying to intermittent fast, and so it's really hard for him to
Mm.
eat like 3 meals worth of real food, like meat and
Yeah.
vegetables times three in one sitting, and so he will eat a giant meal, and then he will suck down a keto chow made with like half a stick of butter in it, and it's perfect for him. And so like it can be helpful depending on where you are in your life. Last thing I'll say about it is that we live in a world of packaged foods
Mm-hmm.
and treats, and it's just a reality. And so my kids are conditioned because we live here to be drawn to that kind of thing. And as much as I want to like hide them from all of that and say, no, the only foods we see are meat and vegetables and eggs, and that's it. That's just not where we live. They go out with their friends, and so just the fun aspect of keto chow with them is of value to me because we get to make recipes, we get to try new flavors, we get to do our little unboxings when we get the surprise boxes, and it's just a way that they can feel like they're entering into that kind of a thing without it being actual junk food.
Yeah. I
And
I
so
like that. Yeah.
yeah,
I,
and also that I get to enjoy it with
yeah.
them because they aren't keto and they do enjoy treats, but usually I'm not partaking in that. So to have a treat that we
Mm-hmm.
both get to enjoy together and have our little tea parties and stuff, I love that.
That's fantastic. I
Yeah.
really like
So
that. Exchange student, yes. I spent the whole afternoon this afternoon. I did get sun on my face. I was outside
good.
putting together my brand new Traeger smoker grill. It took a long time, and I was too tired to cook anything by the time I was done. So tomorrow I will be out
Okay.
there trying to cook something.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll see it
Yes,
in
I know.
videos.
I was looking at myself, going, do I look red? Yeah, I do. And
That's great.
here's a good question too. Is either one of you working on a book, cookbook, or otherwise?
Are you?
What? No, I keep thinking about it, but I would
Yeah.
have to clone myself for
Yes. Yes.
hire, people or something. It's I know people do it and it's a lot of work. Like are
It
you
is.
working on anything? I mean, you've got some ebooks, I think,
I
or
don't have any ebooks. I have one cookbook that is published.
okay.
It was before I really started doing a lot of keto stuff.
Yeah.
And it was when I was more focused just on Instant Pot. And so I had a publisher reach out and ask if I wanted to do a cookbook for the mini Instant Pot.
Okay.
So it's all, and so there's healthy in the title. It's the Healthy Instant Pot Mini Cookbook. But healthy could mean all kinds of different things.
Yes,
And they wanted
definitely.
recipes that had rice and quinoa and stuff, but it's like brown rice and,
Yeah, yeah.
beans and stuff. And,
Yeah.
there's some way that it's a little bit healthier than the standard American diet. So, I had that. That was a year of work. It was so much work.
Yeah.
And I didn't even do a lot of the work. I only did the recipes for it. Like they did all the photography and all took care of everything else. And it was so much work. And I'm not currently working on anything, although my husband has been pushing me to try to do some kind of a self-published cookbook.
Okay.
Because he could do graphic design, and he's like, I would lay it all out for you and we could get it, print on Amazon or whatever. And so like he's has that bug in my ear, but I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can do
Yeah,
it.
I know. I mean, I have a
A
few
lot.
ebooks and they were a lot of work. Like even
Yes.
just an ebook is a lot of work.
Yes. Well, and then
So
I think you're probably similar to me in that when you go in the kitchen, you don't just follow a recipe.
no.
It's like the making the food is easy,
Yeah,
but then like trying to write down exactly what you did and
I
have it,
know.
it's just not how my brain works. It was a
I
good exercise for me to do that and learn how to do it,
yeah.
but it's just, oh, it's so
I
tedious.
I have trouble. Like I'm always amazed that when you put out a recipe on YouTube, you then also have a printable recipe on your website. I am so behind, and I
Oh,
constantly get questions on my recipes. Do you have a printable copy of this? And
yes.
I'm like, oh, I forgot to do
Yes.
that.
It is
Uh,
when I like film a video and then I like edit it and I get it all ready. I make a thumbnail, I do all this stuff, and then I'm like, I have to put the recipe on the blog too. Like, no,
I
not another
know.
thing. But I do know, like, I always want to have a printable recipe. Um, I mean, you do
Yeah,
get more views
I
if you
get it.
don't, like you people going back and watching it again, but I'm
I
like, oh,
know.
and so it is something that I
I
try to
want to
do.
have a printable recipe too when I go to people's and even if they like if they put it in the description, which sometimes I
Yes,
remember to do, then you can at least copy and paste it into Word
exactly.
or Notepad or something. It's really just a time issue, isn't it? Like
Yes.
you are
Yeah.
way more disciplined with doing it than I
Oh,
am. That's for sure.
well, I haven't put out a recipe in quite some time, so I just do fewer recipes
Yeah. Yeah.
whenever I have time for. Yeah.
Well, I can't believe it, but we're already at an hour. Like
Yeah,
that's
we could just sit here
insane.
and talk all day.
I know. We're gonna have to do it again sometime
Yes.
because I sort of feel like we just got going and
I know.
everything and but I want to respect people's time and if they're and I see a lot of comments, people thanking us for being here and thanking us for the recipe. And oh, yeah, there's people now saying they like those printables.
Yes.
So
Me
I'm going
too.
to have to get a little more disciplined about that. But
Yeah, so I made a compromise with my recipes where I was like, I don't have time to do everything, so I don't worry about creating macros for them. Like that's a lot of work putting in everything and
yeah,
trying to get
yeah,
it and figure out like the different
it
serving
is.
sizes. So I'm like, you have a printable recipe. You can make your own macros. You can figure it out yourself. Sorry, I can't do everything. So
Yeah,
that was my
yeah,
that was my compromise.
yeah. Oh, I I really enjoyed our conversation here
Me
today.
too.
I'm sad that it's over.
Yeah.
Um, I try to stay close to the hour, and I hope that everybody understands. And I bet you, I mean, if you want to see Neely come back someday, I'm sure she would. We can do
Leave
this
all those
again
likes.
sometime. Yeah, hit those likes and go subscribe to her channel. I've got it running down at the bottom of the screen here now again. And just check out her bread recipes and her buns if you haven't tried them yet. They are amazing. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming tonight and sharing this time with us. And do you want to say any last thing to the viewers?
Just that it's been fun hanging out. Thanks everybody for commenting and all the love. I really appreciate it. It's just been fun.
It has. It has. Okay. We do have another guest next week. We will see you next week. It's Carnivorous Grandma. She is coming to join me for a live from Hawaii. She's vacationing in Hawaii while she's doing this. So, wow, I appreciate that very much too. So, again, thank you very much, Neely. We will see you on YouTube.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.